Today is November 11th, 2022. This is Max. Max has been experiencing what his owner feels is neck and shoulder pain and possibly through his back as well. Brought Max in. It's been really cold, so he was blanketed, but I know the horses do hump up a lot, so I'm wondering if, he was tense as well, making things worse than they would have been otherwise. But I brought him in, unblanketed him, let him warm up a bit before I started, just to kind of give him a little bit of a relief. I started on his head. He really enjoyed his jaw massage today. He was very responsive. He became very soft, and he was licking and chewing, and quite happy with that. But as I went up through his head and into his poll and his complex, he's still a little bit worried. He was really sore behind his bridle, where his bridle lies, and just down his neck a little bit. So that was kind of a concern, and I spent some time really working. The left side was really bad. The right was a little responsive, but not as bad as the left. So I worked quite a bit, and he did respond quite nicely. As I went through his neck, he has his cervical trapezius, which is the muscle that runs along under the mane, was pretty tense and tight, and I find this a lot in horses that carry themselves high, which are mostly the Arab breeds or Arab cross breeds, and that was very typical. I spent a long time just giving him lots of really deep massage in there. He was really cute. He would respond by turning his head sideways and giving me some resistance so I could get even deeper, and he really enjoyed that. He had lots of licking. He spent a lot of time turning around and touching me, which is a really good indicator that I've hit a good spot. So that was really nice. So I worked really good through there. I did neck stretching, which he enjoyed and responded positively to, and so that was nice as well. He really becomes soft as I worked his neck today. So on his right side, the one thing I did notice with him, sorry, Max, move, good boy. On his right side, sorry, I've lost my spot here. His deep pectoral muscle, which is basically, it's at the front of the top of the scapula, right in front of the scapula here, which is kind of at the base of his neck. If you can see, that's his deep pectoral muscles. And those on his right side were really sore, and he was very responsive to that. So again, I spent lots of time in there. I was able to give him good neck stretching with that too, and he did respond quite nicely to that, which was fantastic. From there, I went down and into his shoulders. This was an area that was of concern, and he was quite tense. He was worried. He was very worried that I was going to hurt him, and it took us some time to convince him he was going to be fine. As I went under his scapula into his C7, he did not want me doing that. It took some time to kind of soften the muscles, warm them up really well, and he finally did let me in there, and he had a really good release with both sides were the same. I don't think they were hurting him. He was just stiff in there, tight, and now he's pretty soft, so that felt really good. I did leg stretching with that as well, and his front leg stretching went very good. He didn't seem to be too worried about that either, so that was really great. Going into his withers, felt really good today. He had no negative response into withers, which is really nice. So I did a nice deep massage. It's really nice when it's cold outside to do this, because it brings all the circulation up to the surface of his skin, and it makes them nice and warm, and they feel really comfortable and happy with that. So we did lots on his withers as well, which was great. As I went through his back, I didn't find any problem areas in his back on either side, nor did I on his ribs or his exterior pectorals, which is underneath. That all felt really good. So we just did nice deep massage. Again, lots of licking, chewing, and blowing. He's one that tends to let a lot of gas out when he's massaged, and he did a lot of that as well, which was nice because I know that that's a good sign for him. His lumbar is a little bit sore. Both sides he was responsive to. He wouldn't actually let me stand on his right above him to work on his lumbar. I had to do it from the left. But I was able to do quite a bit, and I was able to do tail lifts with it as well, and that seemed to go really good. he seemed to have some release with it, and he's not responsive now to it, to the lumbar. So that's really nice. I went into his gelding scar next just because I thought, why not? Let's try something a little different for him, get out of routine. And his gelding scar on his left was extremely responsive. He was really, really upset. He was pinning his ears, he was stepping away, and he was lifting his foot. He kind of acted like he wanted to kick, but he knew he wasn't allowed. But it was really sore. So I did quite a bit of massage on that, and then I left it alone and went into his hip. And then when I came back to the left side gelding scar, it did seem a bit better, but there almost seems to be some swelling under there. It seems it's kind of hot and a little bit poofy maybe, but again, geldings have this happen quite a bit. So this might be causing problems that are showing up as shoulder problems because he's compensating. And so the gelding scar did feel better. When I first started, it felt really cold, which is an indication of pain in gelding scars. And so now it feels like there's good circulation in there, and he seems a lot more relaxed. The gelding scar on his right seemed fine. He had absolutely no response to it at all, so that was good. So the left side was hurting. As I got above him, I was able to get above him on his left and do some stretching. His sacroiliac joint and his lumbosacral joint are both really responsive, but especially his sacroiliac joint. He would pin his head, or pin his ears, lift his head, and he was pretty agitated by that, so it was quite painful. I spent a lot of time going back and forth between those two and stretching really, really deep. As deep as he'd let me. He finally did settle down a bit, but it's sore. It's very sore, and the muscles through here are sore as well. As I went in, his glutes and his biceps and everything in his hip were tender. So I spent a bit of time just kind of giving them some deep massage. I didn't go crazy with it because I think it was becoming a little bit too much, and he wasn't very happy about that. When I went to do the right side, he wouldn't allow me to stand on that side. He just kept moving away, swinging past me. So I was actually, because he's so little, I was able to get high enough to stretch those from his left, which is good. I didn't have a response that was negative on that side, though. He seemed really good. So the right side seems solid. And same with the muscles in this side. They were a lot more relaxed, and I was able to do some, last a bit longer and do a little bit more relaxation massage with that too. So the right side seems okay. The left is sore. He might be a bit muscle sore tomorrow from all this. I think he's going to be. Back legs. His right side was okay to stretch. It wasn't fantastic. It was okay. His left side, he did not want anything to do with it. He was pulling. He was refusing to lift his foot. He would kind of kick and pull his foot away from me when I did get it stretching. So I did what I could, but the stretch wasn't fantastic. He just didn't want it, so I didn't push it. But in general, he's a bit sore, and I know that happens a lot because he's a schooling horse. But probably tomorrow off, if possible, would be good. And just see how it goes. But I think he did have a lot of relaxation today, and I think that's going to improve a lot of his problems. But if he continues to be sore, though, we'll come back and do this hip again, and and everything, but we'll concentrate on the hip and just see how he's doing with that. So let me know, and I can come back over next week or something if you want. We're going to do our carrot stretches, which are popular with him. He's super, super food motivated, so I'm sure that he's just waiting, and we'll do that. But he seemed really soft and bendy in his neck, so I don't expect any problems there. So let me know if you have any concerns further, and we'll go from there. Thank you.